everyone, you are joining the Supplementary Studies Programme webinar, so we're just going to give a minute or so. I can see that people are starting to clock in now, so we just want to give people a chance to come in. While we're doing that, you may notice at the bottom of the screen there is an opportunity there for you to just type in any questions that you have, so you may want to start doing that now, just while we're waiting for some people to arrive, and then obviously we will give our introductions. But you'll see there's a Q&A button. If you can please click on that one rather than the chat one and start asking your questions in there, then obviously we will address any questions that you have throughout this evening. Okay, so I can see that we have got a fair few that have arrived, so that's brilliant, thank you. So I'll start then with the introduction. So welcome. My name is Theresa. I'm one of the assistant principals here. One of my responsibilities is coordinating the different supplementary programs that we have. I'm joined tonight with Kellie and Nancy. Both of these two, thank you. Both of these two people play quite a key role with helping me run the supplementary programs. So just as a little outline, we currently have almost 60 different supplementary programs that you can offer. So the supplementary programs, just so that we're aware, they are your extracurricular activities. Now, there's different levels of commitment, and I'll talk to you about that throughout the night, okay? But I'm just going to hand over to Nancy now, so she can talk to us a little bit about the programs that she's involved in.
Hi, my name's Nancy Wall. I'm actually the Student Association Coordinator at QE. The Student Association is open to every single student in college, and it's the student voice in college. It's a group of students who get together on a regular basis, and it's run by you as students, for you as students, and you have a major contribution to make to that. We have two key people on the Student Association, the President and the Vice President, and they actually become part of the governing body of the college. So they attend the governors' meetings at least twice a year. Everybody can actually apply to become President or Vice President, and we do that by a voting system. You stand up, it's just like any other election. You put forward your manifesto, we then do some marketing, and you are voted in by the other people within the college. Those two people actually lead the Student Association, but underneath them we have lots of different committees, and these committees are in place but can be changed and added to or taken away from as necessary. They're decided on by the actual students. Like everything in the Student Association, it's run by you. So some of the key areas we actually have, we have a green group. This is the group that's really interested in the environment, and they do lots of different things. They do very practical things. So for instance, tomorrow we're actually doing a litter pick in our local area with our local MP. We've done beach cleans before. We've done all sorts of things like that. But they're also looking at how we can actually change the college, how we can move to a more paperless college in order to reduce the impact on the environment. Last year they looked at one-use plastic, and we got rid of single-use plastic in the canteen, and that was replaced by wooden compostable. So they actually have a direct impact. A fantastic group. They also do things like lobbying our local MP with views and opinions to take forward to government. So very active group. We have an LGBT group, and they are again a quite large active group in college. And that's about celebrating the LGBT community, educating students about that community. So last year we had a celebration of Pride during Pride Month, but they also did education. And last year they actually provided some staff training on gender identity. And it was fantastic to come from a group of students to actually do that. Students who are much more aware of how things are changing, and it's a very changing environment. But to actually have an input from them was one of the best staff development programs I've ever been to. And again, that was suggested by the students. So again, that whole group and their sort of manifesto and what they want to achieve in the year is actually put in place by them. We have a community group whose role is to link in with our local community. We're in the centre of Darlington. We have lots of people around and about us. And what we try and do is make sure that we interact in a purposeful way with that community. Current projects are our local church. It's got an area in the graveyard that just is a bit unkempt, and they've asked us to go in and redesign that and make it more accessible and make it the place it should be, somewhere where people have laid to rest their loved ones. So we're going to go in and work with that. We're also looking at creating a sensory garden with one of our local care homes. So some very, very practical tasks in there. So community is driven by you as well. You decide what projects you want to get involved in, and if we can, we get involved in them. We have a diversity group. This is aimed at our Black, Asian and minority ethnic students, and that is a fantastic group. They're doing lots of information, education. They've just done some fantastic displays around college on Black History Month. And again, that's a growing group, lots of students, and their plan is to interact with local high schools and help the induction of new students into our college environment. Really, really positive group. They've also done things like for the playlist for QE Radio, they've produced a Black History Month playlist, again driven by them, and they've decided what they want to do. We have a charity group. In each year we support a number of charities. You decide on the charities and we do events around that. We always support children in need. We quite often support our local hospice, which is right next door. We support things like the air ambulance, and every year we look at different things and different ways we can actually support our local charities. A very, very positive outcome for our students. Wellbeing is another group that we have that look at the mental and physical well-being of our students, and they look at campaigns that are important to them and important to all students across the college. Currently we're in Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and last year the students arranged for somebody to come in and talk to our student body about breast cancer. We had a fantastic presentation from that individual. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we can't do that this year, so they've done an alternative, and they've organised a Zoom meeting like this where people can log on and still get that information, and they've still put out a paper-based awareness campaign. Again, that's driven by students. They pick the topics they want to cover, and we make sure they're all age appropriate and suitable to them. We have a very, very active volunteer group who are part of our Interact Club, which is part of the local Rotary Club. We have about 70 members on this, and over the last 3 years, they've actually won 3 national awards, including the Rotary Young Citizen of the Year Award. Last year, they supported 30 charities, both locally, nationally, and internationally. Those projects that are actually taken forward are all put forward by the students. So this year we're supporting a homeless charity, local baby banks. We're looking at getting girls into education in Uganda and Africa. We're supporting the Rotary book campaign to send a library over to Africa. So lots and lots of different things. A very, very positive group. The one thing you will get out of the Student Association are lots of softer skills, working with people, communicating, prioritising, managing your time, but also meeting people outside of college in different environments. Lots of our students have actually used their experience from the essay on their UCAS forms, on their employment forms, CVs, etc. And it's those little extra things that make you stand out from the crowd. They get a huge amount out of the essay, and it's one of my favourite parts of my job, working with the essay. Young people are so full of ideas and inspiration. It is fantastic to be able to put that inspiration into action and actually see results from that. And year on year, we've done that. Fantastic group to be involved in. Everybody can join it at any point. And I hope to see you in the near future. If you've got any questions about that in particular, as Theresa said, just type them into the question and answer and we'll come back to them at any point. But yeah, it's a really, really enjoyable thing, and I'm sure my students would recommend it. You can actually see Kia, who is our Vice President, on the college website currently. There's a little video of her talking about the Student Association, and it's lovely for me to sit here and say how fantastic it is. It's far better to hear from one of our Student Association members. You can also see on there what the Interact, our volunteering club, did last year, and some of the examples of the activities and projects they were involved in that you would have the opportunity to get involved in as well. So have a look at the college website, not just for subject information, but for wider information such as a supplementary programme.
That's great, thank you, Nancy. Kellie, do you want to talk to us a little bit about the sorts of things that you do as part of supplementary programmes for ladies?
Yeah, I mean, we'll start off with team sports. Is probably a good one to start off with. At QE, firstly, sorry, I'll introduce myself as well because I haven't. My name's Kellie Pomeroy and I'm the sports development coordinator. So my role is to assist you and engage you into some sport activities. So team sports, individual sports. Our team sports programme is very much run rugby, football, girls and boys football, netball, basketball, and hockey as well. And part of that is you're allocated time on a Wednesday afternoon, which is an allocated slot within your block timetable, and you can take part in those activities on a recreational basis or competitive basis as well. So give you an example of what we've had in the past. We've run 5 men's football teams, and we've run 1 women's football team. Those teams compete in the North East Colleges League, so they will play other colleges on a Wednesday afternoon across the North East. And again, just depending on where the standard is, where your ability is, what you want out of it, we've got different tiered levels. So usually our first team is sort of Premier League Championship level, and then we've got a Development 2 squad that play as well. So there's always something for everybody, whether you've played competitive football before, whether you've played, you know, just recreational with your mates on a Sunday afternoon, that's fine. We can fit that in around what we've got. In terms of netball, we've run 2 netball teams for quite a number of years, and the netball again is very much, if you want the competitive level, we've got that where we play in the Association of Colleges League, and then we've got the recreational level, which we would play in North East Colleges League. So again, getting you the level of ability that you used to playing it with and against. Basketball is similar as well. We play in the Association of Colleges Basketball, which again is just matches. Some of them are mixed matches, some of them are 3v3s, some of them are full-sided matches. It just depends on what we get in through the door, and also what the other colleges in the area are running as well. Hockey's a little bit different because obviously we form a little bit more with North Yorkshire with the hockey, and it's more of a recreational sort of training, and then with a few competitive matches as well across the year. Rugby, we've got 2 rugby heads on. So firstly, with rugby recreational team sports, we have a Wednesday afternoon session specifically for that. And again, that is any level you've got, whether it's elite sort of rugby player down to recreational, we'll kind of adjust that. We play within North East Colleges League that run on a flexi format system for rugby. So again, some matches might be 7-a-side. We may play the 15s. We may play some touch rugby, etc, etc. In addition to all the team sports that we run, we also run a rugby academy, which is in conjunction with Darlington Mowden Park. Slightly different with the rugby academy because that is a little bit more timetabled, that you have some extra sessions for coaching, analysis, nutrition, etc, etc. All that information again for the rugby academy is on our website as well, so you can click on the links for that. Individual sports, a little bit different, because obviously we tend to run in term blocks with the individual sports, just based on what's going on in the area, what's going on in that term with other colleges and facilities. That can be badminton, table tennis, trampolining, climbing, anything, and it's based on the catchment that we get in and what you want. So if we can get a group of students together, 6, 7, 8 students, and they want to do table tennis, we'll put some table tennis sessions on. If it's badminton, we can look at that as well. If it's trampoline and we find we've got enough, we can book some sessions for trampolining, climbing, archery, whatever basically that we can look at, as long as we've got the numbers. With regards to the individual sports and the team sports, we also compete in the Association of Colleges regional rounds. So that's a one-off competition where basically anybody can go forward for it, and X amount of students are picked from the area to represent the North East to go off to the championships, which are held every year around about April, Easter time, usually at Nottingham University. But that's like quite a big thing again for team sports and individual sports. So it's really just dependent almost on what you want, and also, you know, realistically what we can offer. But it's good because we have a very good setup with the sport. We've got a lot of, you know, strong coaching staff in, regular staff that are in through the door as well, to run that. So again, you know, going back to sort of the football side of things, 4 or 5 teams is doable. If we needed to run 6 teams, it's doable. It's not an issue. With the football as well, we're linking with Darlington Football Club to provide some extra sort of additional support for us with our elite students. And we also run with a couple of institutions and organisations that can help with scholarship programmes, because we have a lot of American schools and colleges that link up with us as well. And we have had students in the past that have gone off and done elite sort of sportsmanship programs abroad. Same with the netball, same with the rugby, and same with the individual sports as well. So that's kind of a bit team sports, individual, and all those activities are part of your timetable, so that you're not having to do Wednesday afternoon netball and miss out on a lesson. They're timetabled as your blocks as well, so that's good. So yeah, I mean, again, all this information is on our website. If you've got any questions or anything, you're unsure about anything, just give us a shout, give us an email. Couple of other things as well that I'm responsible for. We've recently just undertaken a few changes with our Duke of Edinburgh programme, and we will be running that. It's very much online at the moment, and that will continue until further notice with COVID regulations for the foreseeable. But the Duke of Edinburgh programme, again, is we're looking at a bronze, silver, gold programme that we will offer. It's a little bit different at the moment because, I mean, Theresa will give us a shout on this as well. It's very different because everything is online. It's all virtual. It's very similar to what we're doing now, but it's an online programme as well. So in terms of if you've done that in school, you can bring that through as well, and you can follow that through, finish that off with us, start with us. There's not an issues. So again, Duke of Edinburgh, it's quite a big thing for our college. We've had a lot of students over the years have gone right from silver to gold. Obviously we can do the bronze programme as well if that's something that you haven't done at school, if that's something you're interested in. And these are all situations where at the moment slightly different, but that will continue for Duke of Edinburgh through next year as well. Some of the other things that we work with as well is the Rotary Club. Nancy's mentioned that we are heavily involved with the Darlington Rotary Club. We also offer, and we're very, very lucky at QE, that we have 4 places every year for the North East Young People's Rotary Youth Award. And we advertise, select and interview process, and 4 students from our college are chosen to represent the Darlington region to go to form part of a training programme for the Rotary Youth Award as well. So that's something we work with slightly different, and again we just tap into projects and things that's going on. We get a few talks for the sports and things. Just it's very, we're kind of the non-academic side of it, but we want to build that in with your academics as well and support as well as possible. So any information you need, just give us a shout.
That's brilliant. Thanks a lot, Kelly. So far we haven't had any questions coming through, but again, if you do want to, obviously now is the time for you to do that. Maybe you go away tonight and there might be some more questions that you haven't had an opportunity or didn't even think about to ask, but obviously feel free to get in touch with us and we can still answer any questions that you have even after tonight. But I will just kind of talk you through maybe some of the common questions, if you like, that I tend to get asked. Usually students ask me questions like, is it compulsory? Do I have to do one of these supplementary programmes? And, the official answer is no, it's not compulsory. You don't have to do it. Nobody's going to make you do it. Nobody's going to chase you to do one. But we really do recommend that you do actually do one of these, or even more than one of these if you can. You may have seen our virtual, obviously open evening website, and you might have already seen the video with me. Unfortunately for you, you may have seen that. But if you haven't, I would have explained in there that, I have actually genuinely have spoken to university admissions tutors and employers as well, and have asked both of them the genuine question, what will make our students, employable? What is it that you're looking for? And as I mentioned in the video, apart from them saying the obvious, really good grades, which if you came to QE, I'm sure you will get those too. We want you to have more of an experience. And, to be honest with you, when I look back at my college days, way back, a long time ago, and I think, what made college life for me, what made me really enjoy college, and it wasn't just about the studies, it was about the other things that I got involved in too. And Nancy was talking to us a little bit before about those soft skills that you're going to get, and that's not just from the programs that she was talking to us about, to be honest, that's from all of the programs that you can do here. You're going to learn so much more. And what's more important is you'll be able to talk about those experiences when you have to, you know, I'm sure one day you will be having to write yourself an application form. Maybe that's to go to university, maybe that's to get a job. Maybe you'll be in a position where you actually have to have an interview, and that could be a university interview, or it could be, again, for a job interview. I'm sure they will be wanting to hear about all of the other extracurricular activities that you do. I did mention at the beginning about time commitments, and Kellie's been talking a little bit about that tonight. So you would have heard Kellie talking about Rugby Academy being timetabled. You would have heard Kellie talking to you about, you know, the team sports being timetabled at the end of sort of the Wednesday day, if you like, or, you know, the last couple of lessons on a Wednesday afternoon. Some of the programs that we offer, yes, they will be timetabled, and we need to know about that really when you come for enrolment. So remember, that's a long time away from here. That's in September. That feels like, well, that is ages away. So you've got lots of time really to think about what is it that you actually want to do, and at that point we'll need to know really about the team sports that you might want to do. If you want to do music, you'll need to know about that. You might want to join the combined cadets force, and again would need to know about that at enrolment, because that would also be timetabled in as well. But there are going to be some, you know, you might not want the full commitment where it is actually on your timetable. So there are going to be opportunities where you can join other programs. So some of the things that Nancy was talking to us today, you know, they tend to happen, Nancy, is that right? During lunchtimes, these guys tend to meet.
The thing with the SA and their commitments is it's very, very variable. So I try and work around your timetables as much as possible. So it shouldn't impact onto any of your studies whatsoever. Sometimes some of these activities take part at lunchtime, sometimes they're in free lessons, sometimes beach cleans and things sometimes happen on a Saturday. So we don't do anything that would impact directly onto your timetable. So your main programme of study is your priority, and we're enhancing that with these opportunities. And in terms of what Theresa's just said about universities, etc., we had one student last year and her place on Durham was actually confirmed because of the additional volunteering opportunities she'd done and the award she'd won, and that was the one thing that her admissions tutor said in the interview triggered them to offer her the place. Not just her grades, which were superb, but there's lots of kids out there with superb grades. That's what made her stand out from the crowd. And what you've got to think of is lots of these opportunities, should you choose to do them outside of college or once you finish college, cost you an awful lot of money, and we're giving you the opportunity to do a lot of things and gain additional qualifications and skills for absolutely nothing. Is there anything medical after school things, Theresa? Somebody's just asked.
Well, we've got a medic society, so that's very medical. Yeah. They tend to take students away on trips as well, so you know that tends to be within the school. Well, school. Why am I saying school? We're not even a school, are we? It's college day. But yeah, you know, it'll be the medics society really that you would sort of get in touch with. And I mean, I don't know whether that is something that you want to do, whether you want it to be after college activities that you do, then that's fine. But there are things that the medic society do within college time as well. So that's actually quite a popular one. So yeah, if you do want to sort of get involved with medics, then absolutely that's there for you.
And we do have the opportunity, if there's not a society out there for you and you want to start one, there's an application process where you can put in and start a new society, because if you want to do it, it's likely that there may be other students out there. So there is a way that you can actually start off a society and then market that to the other students and hopefully get enough people interested to actually run that. So yeah, we actively encourage that year on year.
Yeah, and this is why we have ended up with, in fact, just over 64 different programs, and that's because we do get more and more students that want to lead on these supplementary programs, which is absolutely fantastic. And as we said, to be encouraged, because again, look how that would make you stand out amongst the crowd. If you can put in an application form or at an interview, oh, actually, I started up a whole program, you know, I had to market it, I had to get people to come, I had to design you know, sort of timetabling in terms of what I was going to deliver on what days and so on. That really, you know, leadership skills is what we're talking about here, guys. That's going to make you stand out amongst the crowd for sure. And just to give you an example, I think it was last year, we had one of our students who did just that. He wanted to start up his own sci-fi and comic club. which was brilliant, you know, absolutely blew my mind, if I'm going to be honest with you. But then he was at the point where now he's writing his UCAS application, he's put that down on there, and that really does just make it, as we said before, it makes him stand out amongst the crowd. So if you do have a chance, please do go and have a look at our website. You should see two things really there. One is our supplementary brochure, which will give you all of these 64 different options that you can choose from. But again, remember, if you don't want to do those ones, but you've got your own idea, great, come and have a chat with us when you do start. But there's also the actual supplementary studies, what we call a subject site. So you'll be able to see lots of pictures, you'll get to see some videos of what our students have done, get a real sense of what these programs actually are, for you to have a little think about that. We've got a question that's come through. Do you have to pay for any of them? I don't think you do actually, do you?
No, the only one I would probably say is the Duke of Edinburgh, because it is an official award that you're paying for. So in terms of that's a standardised amount across the board. But for us, for any other sport, I mean, there may be a small cost implication for kit for some of the sports. But again, you're not paying per session to do any of the team sports or anything like that. So it's all part of your programme. One thing just to add, sorry, we have a bit of flexibility as well in terms of if you don't sign up for things in September and you think, oh, I really wish I'd, you know, I really want to play, you know, basketball in an afternoon. There is scope that we can look at that later in the term as well. If you're not confident or you're not happy or you're not, you know, familiarised with starting everything the first week back, there is a little bit of flexibility as well. We'd rather you just come and see us and say, look, is there any chance I can do this throughout the year? I'm sure Theresa and Nancy will back me up on that you can just tap in and out. Obviously we want commitment, but equally we understand that necessary, it's a lot to take in at the first week, so we totally understand that if you want to add into things throughout the year as well, it's easier to do that. So
on that, Kelly, somebody's asked, is there anything for taekwondo?
There isn't at the moment. We don't have any provision in place for taekwondo, but again, I am going to say that if we have got, I think we've just had another question off that as well. Yeah. No, we haven't got anything in place at the moment, but again, it's not ruled out that we can look at that as definitely an option, because again, if there's one person wants to do it, the chances are out of 2,200 students, we will have a few more that want to do it as well. So again, that's a conversation we can have. We've done it in the past where we've put some archery sessions on. We've even put some lacrosse sessions on because we had 12 students wanted to do lacrosse. So we've put a block of activities on as well for that. So again, it's just whatever comes through the door, we can look at and accommodate. And obviously I'm not sure about the skydiving. I haven't had any skydiving requests yet, but might need to look at that one a little bit. But yeah, we can certainly look into it. It's not an issue.
Brilliant. Are there any other questions, just as we are starting to draw to the end of time? We've got about 2 minutes left, so just encourage anybody else that has any final questions there for us. Anything's coming through? Oh, we've got one. Archery. Is archery still on?
It isn't at the moment because obviously the regulations, we've got restrictions in place at the moment, but we still have the contact with archery that obviously once the COVID regulations are lifted and we get back into whatever normality is normality, yes, it will start. So yes, the plan is to restart that just as soon as we can, to be honest. But again, it's timetable blocks of we got the numbers, we can put the sport on. That's the way to look at it.
Any other final questions that coming through? I think that might be it for now. So,
hang on.
One, sorry, apologies. How do we sign up for them when September starts? That's a really good question, actually. So, as we mentioned before, there'll be a very small amount that you would need to tell us at enrolment, and that, as we said, that's like the music, the sort of cadets, the sports, and so on. But otherwise, what we tend to do is we have what we call a freshers' fair. This year we'll be doing that online. Usually we have our sports hall that we use where different people will set up stalls. So I am sure that when you do eventually join us, that's the process that we're going to take. We'll be going into the sports hall. There'll be different stalls that will be set up for you. Every stall will be running a different enrichment program. and you'll simply go along, you put your name down, and then the leader of that programme will get in touch with you and will start talking to you about when it's going to start, which room you need to go into, and so on and so forth. So there's going to be lots and lots of opportunities for you to come on board. But as Kelly rightly mentioned earlier, if you don't sign up at Freshers Fair, or you didn't sign up, you know, at the beginning with your timetable, but later on, I don't know, say we get to after Christmas and all of a sudden you feel like, oh, I'm a bit more settled now, I do actually want to start and take something on, it's never too late. So then at that point, you know, you would come to speak to either myself, or you'd speak to your progress tutor or your guidance director. As long as you speak to somebody and you make them aware that you do actually now want to start a programme, and how do you do that, we will tell you exactly what you need to do and we'll get you straight in there. So there's no worries there whatsoever. Okay. So I think we are there. It is 5:30. So I'd like to thank you all for joining us tonight. Hopefully that has answered your questions. But as I said, please do feel free a little bit later on in your own time, have a look at our website, see what the programmes are that we offer. If you've got any questions, feel free to just email those across to us and we'll be more than happy to help you. But otherwise, hopefully we will see you soon as a member of QE. Thank you very much.
Thank you.